One way we learn is by association. We tend to connect events that occur in sequence. For example, when I hear a song that was played at my grandpa's funeral, it brings back sad memories and I begin to feel sad. In classical conditioning, like in our experiment, when we heard the higher pitch of the chicken, we created a stimulus of with the Kool-Aid, which made us salivate. When we heard the chicken again, our mind was conditioned to have the same taste of the sour Kool-Aid. So as a protective mechanism, our mouths begin to flood with saliva. This pertains to drug abusers and alcoholics as well. People who are trying to quit bad habits need to remove themselves from situations in which they associated with previous highs. When my grandfather was trying to stop drinking, he had to distance himself from people he tended to drink with because those people stimulated that craving for alcohol. Watson, working with 11-month-old little Albert, and conditioning him to be afraid of white rats by making loud noises behind him, stimulated him to cry at the sight of anything furry. Later, when they tried to believe they found little Albert as an adult, he was an easygoing but had an aversion to dogs. Operant conditioning is where we associate our actions with consequences, either rewarding or punishing. For example, when a baby touches a hot stove and gets burned, it is conditioned not to touch it again, because it associates the pain that the baby has felt with it. Or a child having a tantrum and the parent giving the child a treat to quiet it down. The child had the child learns that if I have a tantrum again, then I will get a reward. Skinner used this with his operant box. When a rat is put in the box and pushes a lever, it receives food as a reward. The rat learns that when the lever is pushed, it gets what it wants, the food. Punishment often teaches us how to avoid it, not the correct behavior. Positive reinforcement when someone does something correct will result in them doing things correctly more often. An example would be in the school setting or the work setting, when a task is performed correctly and is acknowledged quickly, it is more likely to be done that way more often.